Hello and welcome, I'm Liam, Music Reviewer. You know what, guys, I'm feeling very good today. I've got a new black water bottle that's just very nice, and I'm also going to be talking about the top 100 songs of 2018. Not many rules here, one song per artist, and as I go through the list, I'll be talking more in depth because I just don't want to make this list go on for much longer than it already will be this sort of length. So yeah, let's start at number 100. We've got Light Snow by Vale Smith. 99 we've got Alcohol by Fiddler. 98 we've got Fortify by Arctic Monkeys. 97 we've got Play Destroy by Poppy, a song that won't be on many lists but is on mine because I find it a lot of fun. Poppy and Grimes just work really well with each other. At 96 we've got Charcoal Baby by Blood Orange. 95 Hurt You by The Weeknd. 94 we've got Trans Women Died of Old Age by the Hearst Collective. The Stranger Things clip used at the end of this just gives me chills for some reason, and that whole line of no one's going to kill me including myself, I'm going to live forever, just very powerful kind of activist thing, especially when it's this whole kind of trans anthem, and I think it's a really good one. At 93 we've got Computer Love by Raven Lene. At 92 we've got Green by Touche Amore. 91 we've got Mr. Tillman by Farah John Misty, the first single off God's Favorite Customer, and a pretty damn good one as well, very witty, very funny. At 98 we've got Breadwinner by Everything Everything. 89 we've got Muted Beatings by The Strokes' Albert Hammond Jr. At 88 we've got No Angel by Charlie XCX. She dropped a lot of singles last year, hopefully hear an album from her this year, but this is probably the cream of the crop when it came to her output in 2018. At 87 we've got Fall in Love by Lil Yachty. 86 Just a Stranger by Kali Uchis. 85 Everybody's Coming to My House by David Byrne. At 84 we've got I Came, I Saw, I Came, I Saw, I Came, I Saw by ASAP Rocky and Skepta. It's not actually called that, it's called Praise the Lord. At 83 we've got Product of My Environment by Sylvan LeCue, I think's how you say his name. At 82 we've got Alma Mater by Rolo Tomasi. 81 we've got T69 Collapse by Aphex Twin. It was just like mini pops from Cyro, but somehow better. The phases I just find a lot more fulfilling, and that whole like dial-up transition just sounds really damn nice. It's such a good song. And at 80 we've got Oh by Shy Girl. 79 we've got Hunger by Florence and the Machine. That whole yearning to be more, sometimes there's some toxic ways how you go about doing that. I think it's just a very kind of, the way that Florence goes about it, she's always got away with words, and I think this is no different. 78 we've got Cry No More by Fonte. At 77 we've got Dive by Beach House. 76 we've got Cherubim by Serpent with Feet. 75 we've got The Instrument by Y Oak. At 74 we've got The Dreamers Everyone in Her Dream by Jenny Haval. At 73 we've got Reach for the Summit by Lena Rain. This is from the Celeste soundtrack. Again, I've not played yet, but I listened to the soundtrack because I thought to myself, everyone's praising this, I need to see what it's like. And yeah, it's just a 16 odd minute song that just constantly ascends, just at every single point just leaves you totally satisfied. I really need to get this game so I can experience like hand in hand with all these different levels. At 72 we've got Mushy Seas by Kai Wilson. There's this Kanye West sample in here that I just find a lot of fun. 71 we've got Proper Home by Master System. This will be one of the last songs that we'll ever hear from Scott Hutchison, and this was part of a big supergroup. And yeah, again, it's very upsetting to listen to this, but this is just like, even without that context, it's just a super kind of like gritty rock song that just gets me in a really good mood, and I'm glad that one of my last memories in a musical sense that I'll have with Scott Hutchison is something a bit more upbeat like that. And at 70 we've got Echo of the World by Cloud Nothings. At 69, haha nice, Pyramid of Bones by The Voices. Unlike anything the Strokes would have put out, there's a kind of a metal tinge to it that I think just gives it that sort of kind of bold edge. At 68 we've got No Tears Left to Cry by Ariana Grande. At 67 we've got The Sandcastle by Wednesday Campanella. At 66 we've got Susan by Jack Ladder. This is like a love song between one partner who's died, the one that's still alive, and the one that's dead, trying to like, kind of like edge him on, like, come on, join me, we can be together forever and it'll be beautiful. It's very Nick Cave-ish, and I just think that this is one of those kind of cases where that influence doesn't override the overall quality of the song. At 65 got Grim Reaper by Psycho Mori, and at 64 got Belfort by Onni Osborne. Here's another song about drugs, but with this one there's definitely like no romanticism, there's definitely no positive edge. This is just one big downward spiral, and it is utterly depressing. And at 63 we've got The Way I Am by Charlie Puth, a big bop. At 62 we've got Bloom by Troye Sivan, an even bigger bop. And then at 61 we've got I'll Make You Sorry by Screaming Females. Marissa Paternoster, I think that's how you pronounce her name. God, her voice, man, there's just so much like energy, so much power. It feels like it could knock you out like just like that. So the fact that like, she manages to kind of like pace yourself and not like knock you out with it right away is good. At 60 we've got Worms by Viagra Boys, which is just this whole thing about like being dead and being with your loved ones there, and how the worms just like slowly pick away at you. It's super gothic. It's quite grim, but I just love it in some weird way. 59 we've got We Change by Clarence Clarity. There's that whole carnival bit in it, which I think makes it a lot of fun. The whole album was quite a bit of fun, but I love like when Clarence actually starts singing. He's got a great voice, but when he's going like, I give you reason you don't want to know, and it's like just like warbling about, it's just it's kind of funny but also quite entertaining. 58 we've got Wings by Mac Miller, again another sad loss we had in 2018, but this is just very kind of sincere, tranquil, just really lovely, have to be honest. 57 got Pull It Up by Xavier Stone. 56 got Fell in Love by Playboy Carti. I don't really like Dialect, but if every song was to this level, I would be on that bandwagon like you wouldn't believe. And at 55 got Zombie Bastard by Weezer, another song you won't see in anyone's list because for some reason me and maybe like 5 other people are the ones that love this one. And at 54 I've got Candy Paint by Post Malone. This is like the sweetest braggadocious song I've ever heard, and I just come back to it time and time again. I'll try and put it on at whatever party I'm at because I like it that much. And at 53 I've got Comeback Baby by Pusha T. At 52 I've got Jumpsuit Cover Me by 21 Pilots. The end of this song just like melts your face off. And at 51 I've got Vengeance by Denzel Curry. Now we're finally in the top 50, and starting with that I've got Thoughts and Prayers by Black Dresses. I know a lot of people don't really like this one, or the album in general, but I just dig it so much. The whole sarky repetition of thoughts and prayers is just so entertaining, and the fact that like there is a really kind of like powerful message to it about just how those kind of things don't mean much when you're actually not like helping out people, especially like trans people, which is kind of like a big kind of recurring theme in this album of theirs, West Isolation. 49 we've got Don't Gas Me by Dizzy Rascal. 48 we've got My Contribution to the Sky by Jean Grey and Quell Chris. 47 we've got Runaway by Little Peep. This song gets me very emotional, especially when it gets to bits like I was dying and nobody was there, and there's this whole like kind of epic section with this big like booming guitar or this raindrop sound effects. I love that bit. 46 we've got Blaxploitation by No Name. 45 got Jeannie Becomes a Mum by Caroline Rose. 44 we've got I'm Scum by Idols. Oh man, this is just like a leftist tune. The just has loads of little cool bits, especially the bit about James Bond. Like we don't need another murderous tough bit. Oh, I love that bit. So many good songs off the recent Idols album, but this is the one that I think just edges it for me. 43 we've got Only Acting by Kira Bonito. I just love this whole thing about sort of comparison between like trying to like have these connections with people and how like the usher just kind of stops people and how you yourself stop. You get yourself kind of like too much into it to the point where you forget that you were only acting. It gets to me quite a bit, and the whole noise pop angle to it just works so well. It gets so harsh at points, and I know that's maybe kind of annoy people because it doesn't feel too organic, but for me, does the job easily. 42 we've got This Is America by Childish Gambino, one of the biggest songs of the year, and for me kind of deserves it. People say that it doesn't really work well without the music video, but I kind of get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I do think that some of the messages from it are amplified by the song, especially Young Thug's bit. And then we're on to 41, which is Don't You Know I'm in a Band by Confidence Man. Number 40, we've got Hopefulness by Courtney Barnett. That's a tongue twister. Just a very moody opener, and I really love the line, take your broken heart, turn it into art, and that little kettle kind of like whistle at the end as well. Lovely little touch. And at 39 we've got Ops by Top Dog Entertainment. Kendrick Lamar, Vince Staples and Eugen Blackrock are at the helm of that, and they do really well. At 38 we've got Life by Saba. 37 we've got Scorpio Rising by Soccer Mummy. Oh god, the way it just like it ascends, it gets me teary-eyed every time. Oh god, that wasn't because I was getting sad there, that's because I need to have a drink of water just now. But yeah, that unrequitedness usually is a thing in songs that just kind of gets overplayed, but here it just doesn't lack that oomph that it needs. And I'm one of these people just now on YouTube that really does believe in Soccer Mum, because this album and this song in particular just does it so much for me. I knew I'd end up screwing up something, and I actually forgot to include number 36, which is Hop Along Somewhere, a Judge. Obviously it's on this list, so I think it's good. But it's a nice little cut of indie pop, so you're a goddamn idiot for forgetting to say this one, Liam, aren't you? At 35, we've got brothers, sisters, we don't need this fascist grooving. See, this is why I'm not a singer at all. But this is a cover by LCD Sound System, which is originally by Heaven 17. It's a modified version of that because when that original came out, it was to do with Reagan and Thatcher, and this is obviously like an updated version to do with Trump and that. But oh man, I love the kind of like the change that they've given to this. Just give it like the LCD Sound System flair, and it is, in terms of the political songs that came out in 2018, is one of my favourites. And at 34 we've got Almost Had to Start a Fight by Parquet Courts. 33 we've got Accumulation of Time by Park Jiha. At 32 we've got It's Not Living If It's Not With You by 1975. I've talked about the whole drug metaphor repeatedly, as everyone else, but all in all, it's just a very good like 80s influenced pop song that just, yeah, one of the best things that the band have ever put out. And then at 31 we've got Blame Fire, 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 Blame by Petite Noir. Oh, this is just, again, I was doing this on my EPs of the year list, which you should watch if you haven't already. Just good African art pop. Petite Noir's just got such a great voice on him, which just demands your attention every time. Now we're into the top 30, and this is where I'm going to start talking a bit more in depth about each song. So starting at number 30, we've got American Guilt by Unknown Mortal Orchestra. That opening guitar is just so damn tasty, and it really does propel the rest of the song, and it's so good that it might make you forget about the other core, which is the lyrics about paranoia and government sleaziness. At 29 we've got Make Me Feel by Janelle Monáe. Couldn't be more Prince influenced if it tried, but unlike some like attempts to reclaim the magic of iconic acts, this does feel like more of an homage, and I think she pulls it off tremendously. Prince would be so proud of her. The hereditary tongue clicking, it's such a small but important touch. The whole talk of sexual liberation is just well explored and makes this a pretty just strong song in many regards. At 28 we've got Okra by Tyler Creator. He had a great 2017, there's no denying that, and this song is pretty much like a kind of celebration of that. The production isn't as like lavish as Flower Boy, but the use of like strings, thick bass, piano and synths just work tremendously well with each other. Tyler's flow is pretty damn good as well, just bragging about Grammy nominations and hitting on Timothée Chalamet. Yes, I managed to say his name without stuttering. 27 we've got Bite the Hand by indie supergroup Boy Genius. Yeah, this song never fails to give me chills. The chemistry between all three members is ridiculously good, and the last third where the beautiful guitar playing and the mishmash of vocals come together, nothing short of tremendous, man. Nothing short of tremendous. At 26 got Silhouettes by American Football. This was a very kind of late contender for this list, and yet this was like the proper return of my favourite emo boys. And that's coming from someone that likes American Football too, but this one feels like the proper evolution, the natural evolution to what they produced on their 90s like classic record. The addition to like this kind of really delicate, gorgeous percussion and precise guitar playing is just, it's stunning. There's no other word for it. At 25 is Death Grips is Online by Death Grips, which might not be the song you'd expect me to include on this, but it's one I'm going for. And the simile that I've been using to describe it to folk has been, it's like if you've chucked like a bit of bread into a bowl of like noughties indie rock ooze and just let it soak in, then you take it out, and whatever you get from that would be the equivalent, and that's just probably like really vile and disgusting, but it kind of works in a Death Grips way, and it starts off You're the Snitch pretty damn well. 24 I've got Missing You by Robin. Yeah, this is just like an absolute home run of a pop track. The glitzy, delicate synths for that bassy punch ripples throughout. Just one of my favourite music moments of the year, or well, last year. Robin's vocals are as impressive as always, and the chorus is just a perfect example of this as she spills her heart over a really powerful layered backdrop. And then at 23 we've got Sure by Hatchie, one of the best dream pop songs I've ever heard. It's kind of like floats around in the air, and it just wants to show off how full of warmth and happiness and love that it is. Just never fails to cheer me up. It's a guaranteed mood booster. And at 22 we've got Me My Mother by Angie 3000. This is a bit more depressing than the last song that we've just chosen there, but it's no less evocative. Me My Mother sees Angie decide to kind of punish the listener in a weird way by letting them kind of ferment in the pain and teary-eyed nostalgia of a loved one that you just never get to see again. It's just as simple as that, but it's no less kind of like, I keep using the word powerful, but like it absolutely does kind of just like hit you where it hurts. 21 we've got Fun by Finn Staples. I know that I put this on my disappointing list, but this is a very impressive song. It has this infectious groove that kind of cleverly contrasts with what Vince is rapping about, that whole hook of we don't want to fuck up nothing. Well, throughout the verses, they're kind of, he's talking about the violence that is just rife in Long Beach, no matter like when it's like summertime and you think you get a break from it. No, that's actually probably probably a catalyst for that sort of behaviour that goes on. At 20 we've got Not Running by The Best, and this band, they're getting a lot of love in the Discord community, but they just deserve so much more than they're currently getting. This song's a prime cut, a prime example of why they should be getting it. Power pop, yep, just an absolute class example of power pop. It kind of feels like it's going to have like a proper bite to it, and I would say it does, but the whole point of Not Running isn't so much of being stuck in a really bad situation. It's about kind of like being really adamant and being like, you know what, I'm not running away from this, like I'm going to let my walls down and be more comfortable. And when that outro starts and the other set of vocals kick in, it's just super messy but super satisfying conclusion. It just gives me goosebumps every time. And at 19 we've got Catch It by Ice Age, and while a lot of the latest album beyond this is more post-rock and punk than anything, Catch It is the closest they get to becoming like psychedelic. Elias is an absolute showman when it comes to this song. He just feels feverish in his delivery and like he's having an absolute blast, just having fun whenever he's just hitting out with a line, and this was just as true when I saw the band live as it is listening to it recorded. The plucked strings that crop up halfway through as well, they feel like something The Cure would have messed about in the 80s. And just how they managed to tie things up in spectacular fashion has to be commended. That's number 18. We've got Baby I'm Bleeding by JPEG Mafia. He blew up so much this year, and I think it's pretty justified. I think Baby I'm Bleeding kind of shows why that's the case. His experimental hip-hop production is aggressive and attention-grabbing, much like Peggy himself. So many good quips on here, especially it's ironic that you hang out with a fella that beats women, have the nerve to call yourself a girl pusher, and that final line of "Tell you bitch come here like I work for Midway." Oh, he just has such a personality about him. 17, we've got Blue and Red Horses by Adrian Lenker. It's that song that every time I hear it, it makes me cry like a goddamn baby, and thank God I'm renowned for being hydrated, or else I'd be like that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob goes to Sandy's home and he's just all dried up. That would be me after listening to this song if I didn't drink water. Adrian's technical ability, it's reserved, she never like kind of like goes for like shallow spectacle. It's all very well placed and paced, and just transitions as well just worked really really well for this song. And lyrically is where it shines for me. It's heartbreaking. To me it sounds like a relationship forming between two people, where one individual has suffered some sort of abuse, physical, mental, maybe both. The lines about little red forest in your room that builds on the previous one of little red flubber on your wrist from the other verse, just visually builds up how this trauma is overcoming this person. Oh, it really breaks me whenever I hear this song. And at 16 we've got New Vectors by Igloo Ghost, and yeah, this song's just utterly awe-inspiring. I get images of like vibrant forest full of different wildlife, kind of like something like out of like a Legend of Zelda game. Just the metallic percussion and those lovely soaring vocals, just well done, Igloo. Number 15, we've got Falling Into Me by Let's Eat Grandma, and yeah, originally I was going to have Hot Pink on this list that's by Sophie, or produced by Sophie, but over the course of 2018, Falling Into Me has been the one that whenever I think of I'm All Ears, their latest album, it's what I've been reminded of. This track is just so well composed that Build Up alone be enough to merit being on this list, but the kind of glitchy transition and then they kind of just drop into this really tranquil segment that eventually brings in this string instrumentation. It feels just like a big lovely warm embrace. Just I can't not include it on here because of that. At 14 we've got The Mint by Earl Sweatshirt. Just some rap songs just surprised everyone, even folk that were expecting like a 10 out of 10 album. They were like, oh my god, he's came back and he's even better than he always was. That little sample at the start was like, I'm running things, and then that loop that comes in, it feels so dusty, like it feels so raw, and that's something that can be said about the whole of some rap songs. But yeah, just does the job. It comes really addictive in a weird way, to the extent where like I've listened to this album like 10-20 times at this point. And Earl showcased himself as the closest rap has to a poet right now. 2 years I've been missing living life, and then just the entire outro of Lot of Blood to Let, Peace to Make, Fuck a Check. Just yeah, he's very brief, but he's so rich in what he's saying, and again can be said about some rap songs as a whole. And at 13 we've got Backwards by Kurt Vile, who I thought was Australian for some reason, but he's not. But yeah, just like it's a 10-minute long song, and I wish the rest of Ball It In was like this, because this is just near perfect to me. And the decision to have like an acoustic lead guitar line and then splice it in with a reverse bass is just the perfect recipe to throw you into a trance. And it's all pretty accurate in the fact that Kurt just talks about his dreams, which allows for some really absurd and lovely imagery. Yeah, it's just a song that's better to be experienced than it is to try and talk about it like I am just now. Number 12 got Two Slow Dancers by Mitski. Yeah, chances are if your song can make me choke up and or cry, then you're going to end up on this list, and Mitski would have had like 5 or 10 places on this alone if I was to not have that rule of one song per artist. And it was hard to decide between this song and Geyser, but Two Slow Dancers just edges it ever so slightly, mainly because I find the whole ending portion of Be the Cowboy so fulfilling, and that's in large part due to this song. Mitski's vocals are nothing short of beautiful. I just feel to see how anyone can't like them, and she's more reserved on this song, but the moments where she like really finesses herself just go down so smooth and just impress you all the more. And I already had my big analysis of Be the Cowboy about how there is this whole fictional couple that keeps getting brought up between Mitski and somebody else, but I do think that it's do kind of like a relationship between a musician and a listener, and if you listen to this song you know exactly what I mean. And then at number 11 we've got Noid by Eve Tumor. And while there's a lot of songs off Saving the Hands of Love that I enjoy just as much, the one I've returned to the most and picked apart more than I'd like to admit is Noid. It totally deserves just all the whole album deserves all the praise it is getting, but this song in particular manages to pack in so much into it in a way that like you can just listen to it on the surface level and just find yourself like you can get a lot of fulfillment out of it just from that. But when you look into the lyrics, they're super impactful as well. Just after your first few listens, you'll realise that the fact that it reads like a scene from a horror movie is because it actually draws much like the best horror movies draws from reality, talking about race relations and police brutality, all those parallels. Yep, just works pretty well and incorporated in a way that feels that it feels like it's been incorporated pretty smoothly and pretty well. Now we're in the top 10, baby. I wonder if you'll be able to guess all the ones in here. But number 10 we've got Girlfriend by Christine and the Queens. Yeah, this is just an absolute jam. And when me and the Transistor Cast boys, when we played our show in Glasgow, this is one of the songs we put on. And yeah, it was just a catalyst to get everyone grooving. Chris vocals are, to put it lightly, very sensual and fragile, but at the same time they're very dominant and remarkable, and like fluidity and like the destruction of binary is something that pops up a lot in Chris's music, and this song kind of like is a perfect example of that. And Chris really blew up in 2018, appearing all over the place, like talk shows and on plenty of the end of your list. I mean, our songs are just as strong as this, just kind of like get into you and get you moving, which for some people is a tragedy when it's me that's moving about. I can't really blame the reaction that she's been receiving, why it's been so positive. At number 9 we've got My Love For You Is Undying by Mark Kozlik. And again, Mark Kozlik, his self-titled album was again kind of divisive, I would say. But this song in particular, and the album in general, I love the whole rambliness to it. I think a lot of the instrumentation is really, really beautiful. The amount that Mark's able to do with just a guitar alone, and just how he just manages to weave this kind of like just this lovely kind of blanket of songs and thoughts, and it's kind of like a big midlife crisis. This song goes on for about 10 minutes, so he's looping guitars and little transitions between verses that are just really technically impressive, but even if you didn't want to look into it like that, are just lovely all the same. And I've just not managed to get that whole loop, the kind of like that bit out of my head all year. And yeah, I can see why folk aren't too keen on this venture, but for me, I derive a lot of enjoyment from it. At number 8 we've got Nervous Young Inhumans by Car Seat Headrest, and while Twin Fantasy, both versions, are known for being bittersweet and oftentimes soul crushing, Nervous Young Inhumans serves as one of the rare moments where that misery is laid aside so that Will Toledo and Co can just inject you with this rush of energy to get you moving about. Nervous Young Inhumans is an incredibly dancey track, especially compared to the rest of the album, and the synth work on here alone makes it a cut above the original for me, and that's without even mentioning Will's singing, which again has improved tremendously, seals the deal. He just manages to pack so much emotion, sincerity and style with every line he utters out. Boris does a similar job fairly well, and again I think Beach Life and Death would also be quite high up on here, but for me Nervous Young Humans is a song that I've came back to a lot, simultaneously gives me chills and dancing shoes, which is something that many tracks just could not even imagine accomplishing. And then at number 7 we've got USA by Jeff Rosenstock, and I may not have thought that I wanted a 7-minute long politically charged song by Jeff Rosenstock, but super early in 2018, that's exactly what we got, and you know what, it went down a treat. I was not refusing it at all. And you'll notice a recurring thing about songs that go over like a certain length, and how I'll say they're very well paced, and that's kind of like, that's how you make a good long song, because you have to make sure that you're not wasting all your energy at one bit. There's a lot of different phases in this song that result in a lot of memorable moments, though easily like the best bit of the entire song is around about the 5 minute mark, where the seed of "we're tired and bored" gets placed, and then about a minute later we get "we're tired, we're bored, we're tired, we're bored," and it just really feels at this point that Jeff just kind of like knows how to work his whole formula to like magically, but also like he wants to push himself, and the fact he opened the album with this song kind of shows that he was semi-confident. And but as far as songs with like an anti-Trump angle to them go, I think this one does it in a way it's subtle enough that like there's not like very clear, like it'll stand the test of time because it doesn't feel like it's so specific to it, but you can kind of tell what the whole message was. And I think it was a lot better than anyone done in 2018. Probably better. I don't think anyone did it better in 2018 when it came to like a whole anti-Trump sentiment. Number 6, we've got "Slide on Me" by Frank Ocean, and yeah, Endless technically came out in 2016, but it got its big kind of like official vinyl release in 2018, so I'm going to include it because I'm just breaking the rules here. But if you've actually listened to this song, then you'll know why I have it on here, because within my first 2 listens, I knew that this was one of my favourite Frank Ocean tracks. It's definitely more in the vein of Blonde as it is Channel Orange, but there's not much I can compare it to off the former. That it's kind of very basic in some ways, but in other ways it just feels very grandiose and very special. The acoustic guitar paired with those like charming stocky drums and that throwback beat just feels wholly Frank's own when it all comes together. He just really pulls off. Frank's talk about relationships is presented in a manner that is wholly his own as well. It's just a joy to hear, especially when it's laden with like sport metaphors that haven't been done to death and puns about dream pop. There's also a version with Young Thug on it that's also pretty good as well, but for me this is the one that kind of wins it all. Oh, now we're in the top 5, and starting our top 5 is Immaterial by Sophie. And when it comes to praise being showered on Oil of Every Pearl's Uninsides, it's often to do with Sophie's production, and to be fair, it totally deserves it. It's so characterised and lush and animated, and while no one is making music in any sort of genre quite like Sophie is, I do think that her lyrics are being kind of overlooked, which is something that maybe folks just don't bother with because the production alone is enough to kind of like satisfy them. But Immaterials is just a prime example of how she manages to kind of explore her identity as a trans woman, and kind of exploring the negativity of it by like saying without set features, physical ones especially, who even is she and where she belongs in the world. But as the song goes on, Sophie expresses how she's not confined to present herself in a set way, how this fluidity in turn gives her like infinite possibilities, and how beautiful that all is. And I think that's super empowering. I think it's a really important message to be getting spread, and it's just a really beautiful track. Even if you don't consider the lyrics at all and you don't do the digging or that, you just get a whole lot of fun out of just kind of the whole noughties club pop sound that it's going for here. Just a really impressive song. Now at number 4, I've got If the Car Beside You Moves Ahead by James Blake. I've never been a huge fan of James Blake, if I'm being honest. I think the only song of his that I've properly liked is that Forest Fire song with Bon Iver. But yeah, from now on, after hearing this song, I'll be hugely interested in keeping an eye on his work, because this won me over. Production wise, there's just something kind of ominous about the whole song, like you're going on like a late night drive with the windows rolled down and you're just hearing all these little sounds that just take on a whole new form when the sun is set, and then that alone would probably impress me. But the message of this track is just so earnest and feels so relatable to me, and just kind of like it uses a metaphor of like if the car beside you moves ahead, but just because somebody's progressing, somebody's moving forward, somebody's getting better, doesn't mean that your progress is invalidated, that you aren't doing too well yourself, because to you might be the car that's moving ahead for anybody else, and there's no point beating yourself down about it. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about more and more in music, and just the way that's presented through this car comparison works so efficiently. And I'm really surprised that no one's done it before, but yeah, James Blake just deserves a lot of love for this song. And like I say, I'm a new fan. I might kind of go back to his other work and see if my opinions change, because I just managed to get something out of this that I just wouldn't have expected from James Blake. And number 3, we've got Tonya by Brockhampton. People have been very divided, maybe it's more leaning towards the positive, but still divided nonetheless about Brockhampton's return. I think they are just as, if not more, interesting than they were the year previously, and not since Junkie have the group managed to just make every verse, every component, every moment just as sturdy and impressive as the last. The Serpent with Feet's inclusion on the chorus just offers the soul and heart that you'd expect to get from him, and for the setting that they're wanting to present here. It's fairly introspective, but the highlight has to be Kevin's like begrudging set of bars that managed to convey like the hurt he and the rest of the band went through after Amir's axe came to light, and the fact that they've managed to bounce back from that kind of really rough moment in their lives so well makes me really happy, because I was so worried that they were going to kind of like suffer under their hands with this really kind of just kind of shitty guy. And just, yeah, everyone does their best on here and doesn't let down at all, showcasing a chemistry that they've never really had before. Saturation Free showed a bit of that, but there's still some members holding them back. Now with Iridescence, I think everyone's really showing themselves off and just really like kind of proving that, yep, they work so well as a unit, and there's not like one person that's like running the whole show. They're all doing really, really well, remarkably so. Oh, now we've got the top 2 here, and at number 2 we've got Slide by George Clanton. And yeah, the whole love sentiment of this song is just pretty tight, but where the song really shines is in its instrumentation and its pace, and it starts off quite tepid, but then the drums and the soft sax just softly enter and really start to like just kind of soothe you, before we just get this apprehensive like synth section. And the key motif here is super nice as well. It kind of obviously recurs a lot and makes the progression of the song feel all the more sort of like, oh, like kind of awe-inspiring, I guess be the word I'd use. And yeah, just the way that's all phased makes this like the 6.5 minute journey just fly by. It just makes me feel like I'm like transcending in a way that no other synth pop cut has managed to in 2018. A lot of the kind of like the beauty of this song comes from the instrumentation, so I can't really say much else other than that, though I will say George Clanton's voice. I came into like the George Clanton hype very, very late, but his instrumentation as well as his singing are just as good as the other. But obviously, if you know me, and I'm pretty sure if you were to place your bets, you would have probably went for this as my number 1 choice. But it's In My View by Young Fathers. Guys, this is one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life, and you probably think that so because it's my number 1 song of 2018. But sometimes people kind of just, they have their number 1, it's like, oh, this was an underwhelming year, this was a great year for me, and In My View, it's just perfect in my view. It's just utterly beautiful. It's the best thing that the band have ever put out, in my opinion. It's got this kind of like lo-fi sheen sort of bubbling below these beautiful vocal loops and treble drums, and lyrically it follows this horrible bloke, and how it's weaved with these like cryptic lines that make it like all the more impressive. And it just, there's certain points in this song that make me tear up. I've listened to this song like maybe 50 times at this point, and when I saw it live, I was just my face and my hands just like, oh my god, I could not believe I was witnessing how well it sounded, even if the person in front of me was screaming it, and I can't actually listen to the recording I took because they were screaming through the whole thing. Can't exactly blame her, but still. But yeah, just like how the kind of post-chorus bit where they're dragging out the I, like that bit, just for some reason just like gets to me, and then the final chorus, and where it just all falls back in, because it feels like it's sort of like, again, like I'm using the float in comparison, like it feels like it's floating about, and everything just like sort of like hits back down, and the bit where they're going like the damn, oh, but it really pulls at my heartstrings. And this song just, it's one of the best I'll ever hear. I don't know if Young Fathers will ever manage to put a song that gets to me as much as this does, but that being said, I don't think they managed to improve off White Men Are Black Men too, and they managed to do that tenfold. So yeah, I've got my fingers crossed, but Young Fathers, this is like the best thing you ever put out, then you're going to make an impression on me and many other folk. But yep, this has been my top 100 songs of 2018. I thought this would be really daunting, but I think it's going to turn out okay. Thank you guys for watching all the way through if you managed to, because I know this will be quite long, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to have to drink a lot of water now because my throat is so bloody dry. But yeah, I'll catch you guys fairly soon for my top 50 albums of 2018. That'll be good, that'll be fun. But yeah, as always guys, stay safe. Stay hydrated.